In the early 1900s, when the dream of flight was still just a fantasy, two brothers from Dayton, Ohio, were about to change the world forever. Orville and Wilbur Wright, armed with little more than passion and curiosity, gave humanity its wings. This is the story of their incredible journey. Wilbur Wright was born in 1867, and his younger brother Orville arrived 4 years later. They weren't born into wealth, but their home was rich with creativity. Their father, a bishop, encouraged them to question everything. Their mother was a mechanical genius, and her skills with tools deeply influenced her sons. The first spark of inspiration came from a simple toy helicopter their father brought home. Made of cork, bamboo, and rubber bands, it fascinated the boys. They took it apart, studied how it worked, and started building their own versions. That little toy ignited a lifelong obsession with flight. As they grew, their different personalities began to show. Wilbur was studious and thoughtful, with plans to attend Yale University. But a serious hockey injury left him withdrawn for years, changing the course of his life. Orville was the more outgoing and entrepreneurial of the two. He built kites, started a printing press he designed himself, and was always tinkering with mechanical devices. In 1889, the brothers went into business together, first with a printing shop, and later with the famous Wright Cycle Company. Their bicycle shop wasn't just a business, it became their laboratory. Here, they mastered the principles of balance, control, and lightweight mechanical design. These were the very skills that would prove essential for building the world's first airplane. By the late 1800s, the race to conquer the sky was on. Inventors across the globe were experimenting with gliders and engines, but failure was the only constant. The Wright brothers were particularly inspired by the story of Otto Lilienthal, a German glider pioneer who died in a crash. After studying Lilienthal's work, they decided to approach flight not as a daredevil stunt, but as a serious engineering problem. They realized the biggest challenge wasn't power, but control. Birds could soar and turn because they could change the shape of their wings. The brothers believed that if they could give a machine that same ability, they could make it fly. In 1899, their work began in earnest. They wrote to the Smithsonian Institution, gathering all available research on aviation. Then, they started building their own gliders. For their testing grounds, they chose Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, a remote location with strong, steady winds and soft sand dunes perfect for cushioning inevitable crashes. Between 1900 and 1902, they built and tested a series of gliders, each one an improvement on the last. They faced countless setbacks, crashes, and near-death experiences. But with every failure, they learned something new. They became experts on lift, drag, and aerodynamics. Realizing that the existing data from other scientists was flawed, they took a groundbreaking step. They built one of the world's first wind tunnels right in their bicycle shop. This simple but brilliant device allowed them to scientifically test hundreds of different wing shapes and accurately measure their lift and drag. This was their breakthrough. They corrected the faulty data of the past and created their own, reliable tables of aerodynamic principles. This systematic scientific approach is what truly set them apart from everyone else. By 1903, the Wrights were ready to combine all their knowledge into one revolutionary machine, the Wright Flyer. It was a biplane with a 40-foot wingspan, powered by a lightweight gasoline engine custom-built by their talented mechanic, Charlie Taylor. But its true genius lay in its control system. The pilot lying on the lower wing could steer the plane by warping the wings with their hips and controlling a tail rudder. This was the world's first 3-axis control system, allowing the pilot to manage roll, pitch, and yaw, same fundamental principle used in every aircraft today. The historic day came on December 17, 1903, at Kitty Hawk. The wind was fierce and cold. At 10:35 a.m., with Wilbur running alongside to steady the wing, Orville Wright took the controls. The flyer lifted into the air. The flight was wobbly and short, lasting only 12 seconds and covering just 120 feet, less than the wingspan of a modern jumbo jet. But in that moment, history was made. It was the first time a machine had ever achieved sustained, controlled, powered flight. They made 3 more flights that day. The final one, piloted by Wilbur, lasted an impressive 59 seconds and covered 852 feet. Humanity had finally broken the bonds of Earth. At first, the world was skeptical. The US government showed little interest, and most newspapers dismissed their claims. So the Wrights continued their work in private, refining their design back in a field near Dayton. By 1905, they had perfected the Wright Flyer 3. This new machine was truly practical. It could fly for over half an hour, perform circles and figure eights, and land safely. It was no longer an experiment, it was a real airplane. Finally, in 1908, the world was forced to pay attention. Wilbur traveled to France and gave a series of stunning public demonstrations, leaving crowds and experts speechless. At the same time, Orville was wowing the US military with flights at Fort Myer, Virginia. Overnight, the Wright brothers became international celebrities. Quiet, determined mechanics from Ohio were now hailed as heroes who had conquered the sky. They secured contracts, started the Wright Company to manufacture their planes, and in 1910, opened a flying school to train the world's first pilots. The Wright brothers didn't just build an airplane, they invented the science of modern aviation. The principles of lift, propulsion, and, most importantly, control remain the foundation of aeronautical engineering. Sadly, Wilbur's life was cut short in 1912 when he died of typhoid fever at the age of 45. Orville lived a long life, passing away in 1948. Witnessing the incredible evolution of the industry he helped create, from biplanes to jet planes. Their legacy is all around us. Every time a plane takes off, whether it's a small private craft or a massive airliner crossing the ocean, it flies on the principles they discovered in their humble bicycle shop. The Wright brothers proved that with relentless curiosity, scientific rigor, and unwavering persistence. The impossible can become possible. They didn't just give us a machine. They gave us the sky. And for that, the world will forever be in their debt. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more.